Marcos Villegas here with Al Bernstein, post-fight Guerrero versus Kamagai, where on the undercard there were some great fights. And Al, we'll start first with Devon Alexander against Jesus Soto Karass. Looking at it, the most exciting fight I think I've ever seen Karass in, Alexander in his entire career.
It was very exciting, and he is not known for these kind of fights. He did box well, but also engaged against Jesus Soto Karass. I think the decision, which had two scores of 99-91, a little too lopsided, because I thought Soto Karass got some work done in this fight and won more rounds than that. But there's no question Devon Alexander won. And it was a really good performance. He used all the ring, and yet, as I pointed out, even though he boxed well, it was not a boring fight because Soto Karass was able to pressure him enough, and he threw lots of combinations and landed some very big punches. There was a lot of good action sequences, and for Devon Alexander, it certainly puts him back in the mix in the 147-pound division.
I know with Karass, he's a fan-friendly fighter. Yes. Everybody wants to see him fight, but at some point, he got to put these in the bag and he has to start winning.
Right, and he's 2-3 in his last 5 fights, and you know, I think he's got to get a win. But every time you start counting him out, he comes back and gets a win, like he got the win against Berto, got the win against Selçuk Aydin, and, of course, fought very well in the Maidana fight, even in losing. So, but you're right. For him at age 32, he's going to have to get a win here somewhere along the line. But they're matching him very, very tough, of course. So the question is, can he do that? And he said he's not going to retire, but he is going to go back and talk to everybody and see what's the best way for him to move forward. But, you know, you have to love Jesus Soto Karass, and he did get some things done in this fight, as I said, but clearly lost.
Now in the co-main event, probably the most interesting and most anticipated fight of the night, Vasyl Lomachenko going up against Gary Russell and winning a world title in just his third fight. His third fight, Al.
Amazing. Of course, you know, he had, I think, 6 or 7 fights in the World Series of Boxing, which were under professional rules, and they were paid for it. But as he points out, I was fighting amateurs, so I don't consider that. And it's not officially listed as a pro fight. Either way, even if you count those, he's only about 9-10 fights into a pro career. But the official fights in his third fight, and he tied the record of winning a title the quickest of anyone. You know, he had that amazing experience of 12 rounds against Orlando Salido, who came in overweight and outweighed him by maybe 20 pounds. And Salido fought a very rough and probably dirty fight. So, you know, Lomachenko almost won the fight. He came back, hurt Salido with a body shot, and very nearly won it. So that was the fight leading into this. And at the end of the day, in this fight against Gary Russell, Lomachenko showed that he was the best fighter by far that Gary Russell has faced. And Russell, of course, has faced very poor competition in his 24 pro fights. And I don't think was prepared to face a fighter like Lomachenko. And I always said, you know, all the intangibles pointed to Lomachenko winning this fight because, you know, Russell had never been 12 rounds. Russell has brittle hands. Russell had never faced anyone that would take him as far and test him as much as Lomachenko did. And when you looked at all of it, to me, Lomachenko came in as about a 7-5 favorite. It was hard for me to think of how Russell could win this fight. And Gary Russell gave a good effort, and he tried very hard, but Lomachenko had great body shots, he landed good straight left hands, and even showed great boxing skill changing the distance on Russell. And Russell, who has a kind of a one-dimensional attack sometimes, wasn't able to solve it.
No, he also showed a great ring generalship. Yes. He had Russell moving back a lot in the fight, and once again, bad scoring, kind of plaguing the night, the 114-114 score in this bout.
Yeah, 2 of the judges had a 116-112 for Lomachenko, and that's fine. You could even have it 9-3, but one of the judges, Lisa Giampe, had it 114-114. And the reason I thought that was egregious is you couldn't find 6 rounds to give, you know, to Gary Russell. That's the part. I just don't know. She had 4 of the first 5 for Gary Russell, and I just don't understand that. But the right man did end up winning the fight, even though it was by a majority decision. And for Lomachenko, it's fascinating. You know, there are a whole bunch of fighters in and around 126 and even up to 130 for him. So it's going to be very interesting. And, you know, even the first man he fought was a very good fighter, Ramirez. So he fought a good fighter, then he fought a you know, a very good fighter, rugged, tough fighter, and now he's fought another great amateur who turned pro. So for Lomachenko, he's gotten so much done already in his pro career.
I think at this point, Top Rank needs to kind of hold him down now and give him maybe a couple easy fights, because he's had a hard 3 fights already.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And I'm sure there's somebody in the top 10 that they can give him you know, a defense against, but he doesn't seem to mind. And you know, he doesn't, even though Salido was a rough fight, tonight was a perfect example. He didn't take a lot of punches from Gary Russell. You know, because he is a very good defensive fighter as well. And I'll tell you what, Lomachenko is one of the best body punchers in the lower weight classes that I've seen.
Now, it reminded me of Julio Cesar Chavez and those hooks. It's certainly something to look out for Lomachenko. You guys, we're wrapping up things here with Al Bernstein, Marcos Villegas. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot of great content coming up on the boxing channel. And remember, one nation, one team. Go Team USA.
He's the biggest football/soccer fan.
Good night, you guys.